Hi Dave, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My first question will be about 2012. You know, it's going to be rough here, especially in Europe. Do you think digital can...
I thought it was going to be a rough year only in Europe, actually.
Only in Europe? Okay.
Well, I don't mean to make light of it, but I don't think it's going to be a rough year at all for internet startups. But yeah, maybe for the region, I think outside of internet startups.
Yeah, but do you think digital can make it through?
Absolutely. In fact, I think it's a great market for internet startups all over the world. You know, perhaps more in other regions that are developing economies, but there's certainly lots of potential even in developed regions in Europe.
Yeah. You're investing and doing consulting for a lot of companies. What are you betting on for the moment?
Don't do much consulting these days, but yes, we do a lot of investments. So we typically are very early stage. We write very small checks around $50,000. We've done about 120 investments in the last year. Areas of our focus are typically consumer and small business internet services. So a lot of e-commerce, a lot of financial services and payments companies, a lot of small business productivity tools and infrastructure, and then more and more now consumer education products, particularly for the iPad and iPhone, looking at that market in the future as well.
Yeah. What are your most promising projects? Can you name a few of them?
Yeah, sure.
Promising.
So I guess probably two that are furthest along, Twilio and Wildfire. Twilio is a platform for voice and SMS communications and services for web developers. Make it easy to add phone interaction or SMS interaction to your websites and services. Wildfire Interactive is a social media platform for doing marketing campaigns on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're actually used by Facebook. And both companies started in the US, but both companies are also now operating in Europe and the UK, and in fact in other parts of the world as well.
Yeah. Is Solomo a real concept for you?
I'm sorry?
Solomo, is it a real concept for you?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think people tend to maybe just say that a lot because it's fun to say. But I think in terms of social platforms and local and mobile platforms, we probably look at that as the things that help get distribution for our companies. So I don't necessarily invest in mobile. I think that's kind of like saying you invest in air.
Yeah. In air?
But, well, yeah, I mean, it's just like, we invest in mobile. Okay, well, that's everything. So what I would say is we do a lot of investment in areas around subscription verticals for consumers. So we've done investments for like coffee on a monthly subscription basis, for arts and craft projects for kids, even for... we have one business called Manpacks that's subscription socks, underwear, and condoms for guys.
Okay, what's the name? What do you call it?
Manpacks.
Manpacks. Okay. You've been working in the Silicon Valley for more than 20 years now.
Sometimes not working, but yes, I've been in Silicon Valley for over 20 years.
Wandering around the valley. What have you learned from these 20 years, and what are the major changes you have seen?
Oh, mostly I've learned that I'm a screw-up and that I can't keep a job, but I've spent a little time as an engineer, as an entrepreneur, and as a marketer. I got the good fortune to work at PayPal for a few years in the early days, between 2001 and 2004. I think the major things that we've found are really that there's a ton of opportunity in the internet startups still. There's been a lot of probably poor infrastructure that's been built around the venture capital industry that we think we can make a lot better. So we run an incubator program and a seed fund program, and we think, you know, in general, you know, a lot of the trends from the last 10 years have been product development costs have come down dramatically. Most things now can be run from the cloud much more cheaply and efficiently. And also distribution platforms and monetization platforms are much better. So the ability to start a company on, you know, $50,000 to $100,000 now is much easier than it ever was. But there's still a lot of failure and still a lot of problems in getting startups off the ground. So we like to invest in a lot of companies with the assumption that a small percentage will survive, and then deploy more capital once we see that working.
What about investing in European startups?
Actually, we've done a fair amount of that. In fact, we're probably unusual. We're one of the most internationally focused funds out of Silicon Valley. I think to date we've probably been about 10% international. Probably next year will be 20 to 25%. We've done over 10 companies in Europe, probably about 10 in Asia. Just started investing in Brazil. We've done 5 companies there. And I would say in the future, next year we'll probably expand in Brazil and India, probably in Spanish-speaking Latin America, and just starting to look at Russia and Eastern Europe.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Dave.